Fanfic Corner, Special Edition Fanfics, presented by Jennifer. Spring Equinox, a Dragon Prince Spring fanfic. Okay, and for those of you who have not yet seen the previous story, Winter Solstice, I suggest you go watch that right now, as this is a continuation of that story. Spring was coming to the human kingdoms and the magical land of Zadia. Soon it would be the Spring Equinox. A great festival was being planned in Katolis. The Spring Equinox was always a big deal in Katolis. Queen Sarai had always loved it and had installed that love in Callum. After the queen had died, King Hero had done what he could to make the Spring Equinox special. Callum woke early on the morning of the festival. Quietly, so he wouldn't disturb Rayla, he got up, then turned to look at his beautiful wife of 3 years. She looked so pretty in the morning light. He was half tempted to let her sleep, but he knew that they had to get up. This Spring Equinox was going to be more special than most. At the festival, they were going to announce that Rayla was expecting a baby. True, Rayla was 6 months pregnant, but with everyone all bundled up for the winter and not knowing how the cure for the virus that had swept through the kingdom last fall would affect the pregnancy, they had decided to wait. Though now it would be hard to keep it a secret. "Rayla," Callum said, "it's time to get up." Rayla sat up and stretched, her hands going to the swell in her stomach. "Today's the day," Callum said. Rayla ran her hands over her stomach and smiled as the baby kicked her. She glanced at the new dress the royal seamstress had made for her. It was simple and flowing and made in moonshadow green with brightly colored flowers around the hem, waist, sleeves, and neckline. On the dressing table next to it was a beautiful crown of jeweled flowers that Atari had made for her. The royal family always wore royal attire to the festivals. Everything had to be perfect this year. It was going to be a spring festival that no one would forget. The festival grounds were full of humans, elves, and dragons celebrating the spring equinox. This was the time of year that craftsmen, working hard all winter, sold their goods.
People were excited to see the tapestries, jewelry, ceremonial swords, and other things they had made over the long winter. Children rushed about, eager to play with friends in the warm weather. Rayla watched the children happily. Memories of her own childhood and the Spring Equinox celebrations back in the Silver Grove came back to her. Beside her, Callum took her hand and kissed it. "Are you ready for the announcement?" he asked. Rayla smiled at him. She knew from the last time that once they announced her pregnancy, there would be no going back. Word would spread throughout Katolis and to the other kingdoms. She also knew that, like her and Callum, most would see this child as a blessing. With this baby, the royal family would continue. It would also give hope to the people that they could rebuild what they've lost. Beautiful flowers were everywhere as the kingdom celebrated the season of rebirth, and Rayla couldn't help but think how appropriate it was. Their subjects were celebrating rebirth when she and Callum were getting ready to announce her pregnancy. Zuiba and Zim were with Ezrin talking. They were the only ones outside the family and select servants that knew about Rayla's pregnancy. Pariah was also with them, her new custom-made Crown Guard uniform shining in the sun. It had been Soren's idea to add the Dragoness to the Crown Guard, and she proved to be an asset. No one wanted to mess with her. "Callum, Rayla," Ezrin said when he saw them. "How are you feeling?" Zuiba asked as the couple approached them. "Better than I did at the Winter Solstice Festival," Rayla said, "and a little nervous about the announcement." "Well, my speech will be soon, so you won't have to worry much longer," Ezrin said. "And the one you made last time was very well received," Zuiba said. Zim yipped happily, still too young to talk. He still didn't understand pregnancy, both being too young and a dragon, but he did understand how important this was. "Come on, Zim," Callum said. "Let's go check out the rest of the festival." Zim followed his two oldest friends. It always amazed Callum how much Zim had grown every time he saw him. The Dragon Prince was as big as him now, and, if his mother was any indication, he was going to get much bigger. The trio was finishing some sweet cakes they had gotten at one of the food stands when trumpets began summoning everyone to the courtyard. It was time for Ezrin's speech, and time for the announcement. "My friends," Ezrin said once everyone had gathered, "I thank you all for taking time out of your work to come and celebrate the arrival of spring. The cold, dark nights of winter are behind us, and the long, warm days of summer aren't far off. We mark the 3rd anniversary of peace with Zadia, and we are honored by the presence of the Dragon Queen and the Dragon Prince to celebrate with us." Zuiba dipped her head while Zim chirped. Spring is a time of rebirth, and, on that note, the royal family has an announcement to make. My brother, Crown Prince Callum, and his wife, Princess Rayla, are expecting a baby. At their king's words, the entire courtyard exploded into cheers. Okay, now if any of you out there have a fanfic or a short story that you would like me to do reading on for Fanfic Corner or Story Corner, feel free to send it to me at either my Tumblr account, Facebook page, or my Facebook group, Fanfic Corner. I will have the links for all three in the description section. Couple of things to keep in mind. Please be sure to include your name and or the name of the author. I have to be able to credit someone, or I just won't do a reading. Please try to keep them short. My video camera shuts off after about 30 minutes, and I like to try and keep these videos between 15 and 20 minutes. However, if it is something I do like and it is a little on the long side, I will break it up into parts. Please keep them clean and appropriate. I will clean up and or gloss over any parts and or words that are, in my opinion, inappropriate for children and or sensitive audiences. But if there's too much, I just won't do a reading. If it's a holiday fanfic or short story, please submit it 2 months before the holiday and be sure to include the name and date of the holiday. This is mostly to ensure that I can get the video posted within a month before the holiday. And finally, please be honest. If I find out that someone has submitted a fanfic or a short story that was written by someone else without their permission or without submitting their name, even if it's just a username, along with the writing, I will not only remove all corresponding videos, but I will no longer accept any fanfics or short stories from that sender. Okay, please like and subscribe. Please like.